Good evening, everybody. I'm Keith Burton. I'm chair of the Planck Center, and I'm really glad to be here with you for the awards portion of our ceremony. Betsy Planck had a wonderful saying when she honored people, and that saying was, "You lit up my sky." The picture that you see out in the entryways you come in was actually taken on the street where the Bear Bryant Museum is, Bear Bryant Avenue at Tuscaloosa. I took that picture many years ago with Betsy, and I had the opportunity, as Ron said earlier, to be at one of the many dinners or luncheons that she had here in this room. I think Betsy was eternally talking to people about the Planck Center, and I had the pleasure of doing that. In 2007, I had the pleasure of chairing the Public Relations Society of America International Conference. I was the program chair that year. And on my program committee was Betsy Planck. Well, you can imagine, here was the woman who'd been president of PRSA, who'd been one of the real leaders in our profession for many years, who suddenly was providing input around the program after working a whole career in the business. There was not a more gracious person, but I did learn one thing about Betsy that year. She didn't understand technology, and she wanted everything faxed to her. And when she called me on the phone, she said, "Can you at least, honey, give me 5 minutes to change the phone line over from my phone to the fax machine before you send what we're going to get?" An incredible leader, and she lit up our sky in that work. We've had an incredible 2 weeks, and we'll have an incredible 2 weeks, as Ron told us about this week, but we'll also next week have another great week. I want to recognize Dr. Bruce Berger, who's been a long-time trustee in addition to his leadership at the University of Alabama, for innovating our Challenge for Emerging Leaders. We will, yes, please recognize Bruce. Toyota will be our sponsor in Dallas next week. I was telling Tiffin Jernstedt we'll be back at SMU for this event. We'll have 5 universities, SMU, TCU, Baylor, University of Texas at Arlington, and Oklahoma. But it'll be the Ponies who will be the sponsors for this event. Yes, Pony Up. We're excited about that. We'll have 20 high-potential, very diverse students who will go through a 2.5-day leadership model, very intensive 2.5-day leadership model. We've done these events already in Tuscaloosa, Chicago, and New York, and they've been incredibly successful. It's all a part of the model to advance leadership in the work that we do. So I wanted to remind you of that. Tonight we're going to honor 6 great leaders. I want to remind you of the categories before I move to another award that we'll also provide tonight. First is the legacy category with Rich Jernstedt, the agency category with Matt Harrington, our emerging leader with Cheryl San Clemente, the Dr. Bruce K. Berger Educator Award with Dr. David Dozier, the John Jack Coton Corporate Award with Kelly McGinnis, and then this year, the Betsy Planck Award. As you know, in past years, we have honored an executive leader, and rarely do we honor someone with the Betsy Planck Lifetime Award. But this year, we're doing that with Kim Hunter. Were Betsy Planck here tonight, she would again look at the award, which is a compass that represents the true north of a leader's heart and what a leader does. We've had many great leaders who've received this through the years, and that will happen again this evening. In addition to that, Dr. Carla Gower, who's our center director, and I want to honor 2 of our trustees tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about them as they come up. 12 years ago, when the center was originally formed, we had a very dedicated group of men and women who came together to lead the Planck Center with Betsy. 2 of those are Rick Lucer, who's with the Serlo agency. The other is Professor Maria Russell, who you know is with Syracuse. They have been tremendous leaders through 12 years now and have served in a way that is incredible, the Planck Center, through their work during this 12-year period. Tonight, we honor them as they rotate after their term of service ends. I want to invite them up tonight, and they will receive a special award that has the Betsy Planck slogan, "You lit up my sky." Let me invite up Rick as well as Maria, please. I told them they didn't have to speak, but I want to speak for them and just tell them how wonderful they have been. They are tremendous colleagues to us. They have both their humor, their wit, their incredible contributions over the years to so many things that we've done. In fact, I can tell you that Maria, the first month I was here, I called her on the phone. I was on Lower Wacker driving here and called her to talk about ideas that I had for working with the programming committee. She listened very intently, and then she said, "Are you sure about that?" Which was classic for Maria, challenging in the right way, but also encouraging to do things the right way. My very good trustee and colleague, Rick Lucer, worked with me very closely as we led our program committee to create new models, including how to get your first job in public relations, a very important thing for young people coming up. I want to thank them both, ask you to recognize them with me tonight. We're going to start with the first award. I'm going to invite Tiffin Jernstedt to come up. Tiffin, by the way, is also an SMU alum, if I haven't said that already. But Tiffin wanted me to remind you that as someone who also has led in our industry as SVP of again, PHV Corporation in New York, she understands our business, but also she understands her father and his role in our world, and I know that you'll enjoy her remarks tonight. So with that, Tiffin, please come up.
Great. Thank you, Keith. I'm so honored to be here to present the Legacy Award to my dad, Rich Jernstedt, on behalf of my brother, Ty, my mom, Jeannie, and the entire Jernstedt family. A huge thank you to my two aunts that are right here, who flew in from Oregon to surprise my dad and their big brother. So my dad wanted to make it easy for me tonight and had a whole plan for me for my speech. We're not doing that. So because most of you know my dad as a professional, I thought it'd be fun to talk about what it's like to be raised by the ultimate communicator and mentor as your father. So before I even talk about my dad, I have to talk about my mom. She's been a huge force in my life and in my dad's life, and huge success. So we have to thank her first. So I've gotten a lot of great advice from my dad through the years, and it really does start. Can you imagine in elementary school, you have the ultimate communicator editing your third grade book report? AP style, by the way. Yeah. The grammar gene never got to me, even though he was such a stickler. And as many of you know, he was a journalism major from University of Oregon. But what I did learn from him is the art of positioning and the power of really writing for impact. So I did get that from you, Dad. Despite all of his patience and continued effort, what I also learned from him is the immediate follow-up. As many of you know, he's famous for his handwritten notes, and that also stuck with me. But also, when I watched my dad through the years, he's been unbelievable with going with change and embracing change. So even though he was a traditional journalism background, with all the dynamics of communications and how it's changed through the years, he's been there every step of the way. He's still my press clipping service. Every week, we always get amazing clips from him. But he's also as terrible as a teenager on Instagram, which he's not on right now. I'm actually really impressed, Dad. Yeah, exactly. probably the most important lesson that I learned from my dad was no one cares more about your career than you. But I'm so lucky to say that my dad does. So one of the biggest aha moments that I had in my career was when I got to mentor my dad. So as some of you know, he comes from corporate America, McDonald's, coffee spill stuff. And I come from the fashion industry, fashion shows, dressing celebrities. But through the years, our worlds are starting to collide. And I sent him a fashion client a couple years ago, and I got a call from my dad saying, oh my God, they want cover approval on the magazine. And I said, yeah, they don't do that. I go, yeah, I know. Welcome to my world, Dad. So what also has been amazing is through the years, a lot of my industry friends, they've actually worked with my dad, and they've been mentored by my dad. And to hear them say, your dad is so cool, he's helped me so much for my career, is amazing to hear as a daughter. And what also was awesome, last year I joined the Page Society, and we were the first father-daughter duo that we learned, which we didn't know. So no matter what, he's been at every step in my career. I hit 20 years, and we just did the math. He's hit 50. But in my 20 years, he's coached me through 6 career changes, thousands and thousands of phone calls about every phase of my career, and he's been there every step of the way. So I can't thank you enough, Dad. You've inspired me, our family, all of our friends, our industry. He's also continues to inspire the younger generation. He has 2 of his mentees here, Megan and Cam. We'll clap for you guys here. And my 10-year-old son, Ace, who is the youngest person, I think, here. You can stand up there. So he just recently told me that after his career with the Seahawks, he wants to be a communicator like all of us. And I hope to be as good a mentor to Ace as my dad was to me. So congratulations, Dad. You are my mentor of life and in business. And congratulations, and I love you.
You have it? I think I'll just soon take my seat and let that go. Miss, you need to hand me the speech because I don't see it up here. Thank you. It's a family effort. Many of you know I've never been able to make a point in 90 seconds or less, but I'm going to do my best. I've got 2 key messages. The first one is thank you. Tiffin, thank you. I don't even know what to say about what you've just said. I can't tell you how proud we are of you. As your father and mentor, I'm just glad I didn't jeopardize the fact that you excel at everything you do. So thank you for everything that you said. Thanks to Keith and Ron and Bill and you, Bridget, and everybody at the Planck Center for making this such a wonderful honor and for making this event the best night in public relations. So our thanks to you. Thanks to my wife, Jeannie. You've already heard from Tiffin. You're the real mentor in the family. You've been mentoring me since our first date. 53 years ago, almost tonight. She will tell you that I'm a work in progress. I will say she is perfection, and I love you for it. This is humbling for me. I've sat out there for the last 10 years, and I've loved every minute of that. I have to tell you, up here is really special, and it's very humbling. I'm so proud to be a part of the other honorees tonight, and particularly proud to be a part of the legacy honorees. 3 others at least are here tonight. Pat, Bill, and Tom. If I missed anybody, so a round of applause for them, because I've been saying that I'm humbled to the point of embarrassment to be included in that crowd. They've accomplished so much and still found time to be recognized as mentors. But according to their speeches at this event tonight, they all admitted how much they benefited from their mentoring. So there's a real lesson there. I owe a great deal of thanks to one of those Legacy Award winners, and that's Al Golin, a world-class mentor, coach, friend, boss. We're so pleased to have June Golin here with us tonight. And I also knew Betsy Plank. Thank you to her for inspiring us to understand what she understood was the important role of mentoring. If she were here tonight, and I'm sure she is, she would tell us you're never too young or you're never too old to be a mentor or a mentee. And that leads to my second message, which is to mentor more. If you don't have a mentee, get one. If you don't have a mentor, get one. If you do, get more. It's difficult to determine who benefits the most, the mentor or the mentee, because the roles tend to blend after a while. I learned so much from younger professionals. And at this stage of my life, everybody seems to be younger than I am. Several of my favorite mentees turned mentors are with us tonight, many at this table. You already heard about the surprise last night of my two sisters showing up, my little sisters, I always call them. And our grandson, Ace, is the one who keeps me in touch with social media and popular culture. It is awesome that you're here tonight. You would say it's sick, but I learned today, no, it's not sick anymore, it's lit. So, David Brooks, the author and columnist, writes that joy is the present that life gives you when you give your gifts to others. Regardless of age or experience, you all have gifts. Because of communications being so important in our society today, we owe it to our employers and to our country to share those gifts with others. We set the standards for communications that are credible, authentic, truthful, and real. So mentor more so it will happen faster, better, and with some joy. Help me send a message to everybody who's watching and to Betsy by repeating after me when I count to 3, mentor more. 1, 2, 3, mentor more. Okay, Cam, should we do it one more time? One more time. 1, 2, 3, mentor more. All right, thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Sepulveda, and I'm the Chief Client Officer at Edelman. Matt Harrington is our President and Global Operating Officer, and he has been at Edelman for nearly 35 years. That deserves an award, doesn't it? I've had the great privilege of working with Matt for the past 3 decades. I could spend the next couple of minutes outlining Matt's many professional accomplishments, his tireless dedication to our clients, his ongoing impact on the industry, where he wrote the first code of ethics for a PR firm, his life as a dedicated husband and father of 2 amazing daughters who are making their impact on media and nonprofit worlds, and now a proud grandfather. Instead, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Matt has meant to me in my career. For as long as I can remember, Matt has always been the ultimate mentor. He's there when I need guidance. He's never judgmental, always kind, fair, and firm. Even under pressure, he always remains calm and brings out the best in his colleagues. And he does it all with optimism and his trademark dry sense of humor. I've learned so much from him, but if you were to ask Matt for his list of lessons, he would look at you sideways. Matt doesn't have a list. That's just who he is. He's a one-of-a-kind mentor. He mentors when no one's looking. So I've put together my own list. I call it the 5 mentoring mantras of Matt. Mantra 1, educate yourself. Be a perpetual student of the media and the world around you. Matt is incredibly well-read. Every day, he devours the FT, the Times, and the Journal, and that's all before 8 a.m., and that's after he's gone for a run listening to NPR. He sets the learning bar we all strive to reach. Mantra 2, always arrive with a solution. Even if it doesn't fly, it's better to show up with an idea for pushing things forward instead of complaining why things aren't working. Mantra 3, be a thoughtful responder. When you get a call or an email that riles you up, wait before answering, take a walk, cool down, go home and sleep on it. For a really excitable person like myself, this has spared me many hours of grief. Mantra 4, lift people up. When you're leading others, it's easy to point out mistakes and flaws. Matt showed me that positive encouragement brings out the best in everyone, every time. Mantra 5, and probably the most important of all, listen. Ours is a business of talk, but Matt taught me that by listening, you can get to the heart of the problem and the solution faster and better. In these and so many other ways, Matt not only taught me, he inspired me to become a mentor myself. I've carried his lessons and used them to help others advance. On behalf of all of them, we thank you, Matt, for all you've done for all of us. Everyone at Edelman is so happy and proud that Matt's being honored here tonight. So I'll end by introducing our CEO, Richard Edelman, who couldn't be with us but sent this video message.
It's indeed fitting that Matt Harrington gets the award tonight at the Planck Center. Betsy Planck worked as my father's first COO. She was a genius at organization and, in fact, made Edelman grow significantly in the 60s. Matt Harrington has been a mentor to so many at Edelman and also to clients. I'm thinking of people such as Deirdre Latour, who is a GE now at Pearson. Also, Lisa Sepulveda, Christine Boyden, and so many others at Edelman have benefited from his wisdom, his dignity, and his complete commitment as a professional to excellence for every client. So Matthew, tonight we salute you and thank you for all you've done to grow Edelman and its people.
Wow. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Lisa, for your very kind words. I will ask you later for the 5 mantras for Matt. I'm grateful beyond words that you're here this evening. We've had a long journey of partnership together, and it's both friendship, partnership, and as I see it, mutual mentorship, because I've learned as much from you as hopefully I've been able to share with you. I want to thank the Planck Center for this recognition and incredible honor. I'm particularly pleased to be amongst the company of the individuals being honored this evening, so my congratulations to all of you as well. And I'm grateful to colleagues and family who at this point really are the same thing for being with me this evening. I take particular pleasure in the fact, as Richard just mentioned, that Betsy Planck and I have Edelman in common, although it was a common entry point for both of us in our PR careers. I just happened to stay at Edelman a bit longer. Betsy was a part of the firm's start, and a very important one, as Richard said, in the 60s as both executive vice president and treasurer, wearing multiple hats. But I think she left a lasting impression because I suspect that she left mentorship in the water cooler at Edelman. Because when I joined Edelman, I benefited from numerous mentors over the course of my career, and I've been seeking to pay that back ever since. And perhaps most especially, I want to acknowledge Richard, who took a shot on a newly minted graduate of Denison University and gave me an opportunity to enter this wonderful profession. And it's that opportunity that I was thinking about this afternoon when I met with the 50 promising young people who want to join our industry, and my hope that each of them find mentors to bring them forward into our career. I've always been honored when somebody asks me to be a mentor. I think of it as both honor, but also I have a very selfish reaction to it because I'm also really recognize that I'm going to learn a lot and that the experience will be mutually beneficial and that I'll be better as a result of the experience. As a son of a journalist, I've always also thought of the mentor relationship as not too dissimilar from that of editor and reporter. The great American writer Flannery O'Connor wrote a friend about the relationship she had with a literary critic and mentor, and wrote, "It would have done your heart good to see all the marks on the copy. Everything commented upon, doodles, exclamation points, cheers, and growls." That sums up mentorship pretty well for me. Sleeves rolled up, cheers and growls, all with the objective to help a person achieve their goals. So thank you again for this honor.
Good evening, Chicago, and thank you for having me Planck Center. My name is Benny Ebertzevos. I work at Salesforce, the global leader in customer relationship management, where I focus on real estate communications. It so happens we have a tower right up the street at Wolf Point. Does anyone know it? Yes, good. I expect you to all send me photos of the building under construction after this, so I'll stand by for that. So it's an honor to be in front of so many PR professionals in one place. It's almost like an overstaffed technology conference. Dreamforce is in a week and change, so I can say that. And boy, how nice does it feel not to be monitoring email or Twitter for just a brief moment, or Instagram. My PR journey has been unique, to say the least, and I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for one very special individual. So I want to take a walk with all of you down memory lane. A few years ago, I was running business development and partnerships for a Series A startup when all of a sudden, our latest round of funding didn't come through. The next day, the lights were out and the company had been sold off for parts. You probably have heard this story if you've ever worked in startups. Rite of passage, they say. The sensible thing for mid-20-year-old to do at this moment in time was to find stability, right? That's what my parents encouraged me. So I joined Salesforce's real estate team in a back-of-house operations-focused role. Let's just say, important for the business, not the most glamorous. Fast forward 7 months, and this person who barely knew me asked if I would join her PR team. Wait, a role in PR, I asked? Yes, in PR. I'd never worked in comms or PR in my life. I wasn't an English major. I didn't have the experience. Quite the risk for someone looking to take the stable route. But what made the difference was this very, very special individual to me, Cheryl San Clemente. There I was trying to understand what an embargo and on background meant. Don't even get me started on what the wire is and how you put something on the wire. I was clueless. Cheryl taught me PR 101 and 102 and was always there to answer my questions in stride with a pun sprinkled in here and there. She was, and more importantly, still is willing to take the leap and put her reputation on the line to groom those around her and elevate those around her. Cheryl has chutzpah, if you know that word, so much so that the definition should include her name right alongside it. You will see soon enough, I promise you. She's a force to be reckoned with, I kid you not. Not only is she well respected by those in the industry, but also throughout our organization. She handles the most challenging situations with true grace I've ever seen, all while dressed to the nines. Shortly after I joined the team, Cheryl went on an earlier than expected maternity leave. There we were, my agency partner and I, running communications for Salesforce's global real estate portfolio solo. But through her leadership, the foundation was set. As Salesforce likes to say, trust is our #1 value. Talk about embodying trust and putting it all of her faith in us. I had the biggest, fanciest shoes to fill. Here we are, 3+ short years later, as San Francisco's largest employer with the tallest office building west of Chicago. And to date, across the globe, we've either announced or opened 10+ towers on all corners of the globe with over 40,000 employees. If it wasn't for Cheryl's leadership, charisma, energy, and spirit, none of these dominant skyline redefining projects would have been possible. What makes this even more impressive is that Cheryl also oversees our HR and our diversity and inclusion PR portfolios, 3 of the most visible at Salesforce, all while maintaining an active volunteer role at Dress for Success, raising the most adorable toddler, Mateo, and of course, alongside her husband, Josh, who's in attendance tonight. I'm still in awe how you juggle all of this with such ease. With that, I'm proud to recognize my mentor, coach, confidant, and most importantly, my friend, Cheryl San Clemente, as this year's Planck Center Emerging Leader Award recipient. Here's to you, Cheryl.
Present too. Good evening, everyone. I'm very short, but you may not know it because I have a big personality. I do have a couple pieces of paper. Carla, don't panic. I will stay within time. But just first of all, I want to say, Benny, it has been an absolute privilege to work alongside you and to watch you grow. And I'm telling you, you are going places, my friend. So thank you. That was more heartwarming than I expected. And good evening, everyone. What an incredible room. I am so honored to be among such great PR greatness, current leaders and future leaders that I got to meet earlier today at the Student Roundtable. It is an absolute honor. Thank you to the Planck Center and to the entire board. This is pretty dreamy, I have to say. I also want to quickly acknowledge my husband, Josh, who flew in today to join me. Thank you for being such a great partner in crime and encouraging me to continue to stretch professionally despite having our toddler wreak havoc on our lives. And I also want to quickly acknowledge my parents who may be watching, who immigrated to this amazing country many years ago and landed in Queens, New York, where I was proudly born and raised, and who instilled in me such a strong sense of integrity, discipline, and even a little bit of an inflated sense of confidence. But hey, that is what has gotten me this far, so thank you to them. But we're all here this evening to celebrate a really legendary woman, Betsy Planck, someone who I really wish I would have had the chance to have known or to at least have met, a true pioneer in our profession. And when I think of Betsy Planck and her incredible legacy, I think about all the individuals in this room that have benefited from her mentorship. And I, too, have benefited from incredible mentorship in my life. But I've also benefited from incredible sponsorship in my life, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I like to think of mentors as advisors who use their great experience and their education to help you build blueprints for your ambitions and give you advice and guidance. But an advisor is someone who can really unlock the door for you through direct endorsement. So I like to say mentors will give you a map to your destination, but sponsors can really unlock the door for you. And as a young female Latina who has worked in very competitive and cutthroat industries, Wall Street in New York City, through the financial crash and when Me Too, before Me Too is Me Too, and now technology in San Francisco, I know firsthand the game-changing power of a sponsor. And I have had incredible sponsors advocate for me in rooms that I didn't have access to. And so in closing, I just want to encourage all of the young leaders, particularly the ones I met today, to get comfortable with the idea of seeking both mentors and sponsors. And to the very talented and seasoned individuals in the room, I would love to encourage you to think about ways in which you can take mentorship to the next level and really sponsor for these individuals that may not have a voice in the room, and use your positions of power and influence to directly endorse them. Thank you so much for having me. It is a true privilege and an honor, and thank you again.
There are a few things that could pull me away from Southern California to bring me to Chicago in November, but I'm very excited to say that recognizing my friend and mentor, Dr. David Dozier, is definitely at the top of that list. I'm Dr. Kay Sweetser, and I'm here to talk about the most selfless and generous giving colleague with whom I have ever worked. When most people think of mentoring, they think of that young practitioner, doe-eyed and dewy, ready to jump headfirst into the profession. And then you think of the senior practitioner who's off on the sidelines saying, "Don't go headfirst, you'll hurt your face." But that definition of mentoring is really, really slim, and it really leaves a lot out. What I love about the way that Dave mentors is that he mentors his peers. Sure, he helps newbies, because that's what he has, is a lot of amazing new people around him. But he doesn't see the people that are in the office next to him as competition. He knows that we can all succeed, and there's room for all of us to do amazing things. He never has to cut someone down or step over someone in order to stand out. He's a quantoid, so he knows that there are definitely strength in numbers. Some call it collegiality, but it's so much more than collegiality. Of course, Dave is collegial, but he's relentless in creating opportunities for his peers. He is selfless and generous with his time. He takes his vast experience and his brilliance. Did I mention he went to Berkeley and he's a Stanford man? And he helps you think through creative solutions to the challenges that you face. And he's frank. That's really something that sometimes we all need. Looking back at Dave's career, I see that all of this really started to take root when he came to San Diego State University. He and the late Dr. Glenn Broom together arrived around the early 80s, and they never competed with one another. They were on that rat race, young professors toward tenure, but they worked together in order to make amazing things happen and to build a program. That style of peer mentoring is something that was unique then, and it's unique now. And that culture that Glenn and Dave created together remains with us today. And so this is what Dave is like as a colleague. He'll stop by your office, he'll make lunch plans with you, sometimes he'll buy. He'll ask you how your research is going, and he'll offer to help. He'll ask you how your life is going, and he'll offer you his friendship. And what a friend. If you look through Dave's Rolodex, which, come on, of course he has a Rolodex, you will see that he has the who's who of mass communication researchers alongside the most prominent public relations practitioners listed in there. We're talking CEOs of major agencies, vice presidents of corporate 100 organizations, Navy admirals, and me. And he never makes you feel like you don't belong in that group. He tells you that you're a part of that group and you lead that group, that you deserve the time that he so generously gives to you. I've personally benefited from many multi-hour phone calls from Dave where he's giving me rudder guidance in trying to navigate university politics, where I get email replies from him that he says, hey, why don't you just send me that data set? I'll take a look at it. You know, David M. Dozier stands out because he's always extending a hand to his peers, to the newbies, to everyone around him. This man is very commonly known for his 11,000 plus citations to his amazing scholarship. But when I think of him, I think of the friend that is always there when I call and say, do you have a sec to talk? So I'd like to welcome my friend and mentor, David Dozier, to the stage.
Thank you. We do a pose.
That's my pose.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank the Planck Center for the honor of being here. And I want to also thank Bruce Berger. He's a friend and a colleague, and he established this award. And I understand he had to twist a lot of arms to see that I got it. So thanks, Bruce. Your check's in the mail. It's a bit egotistical to think that Kay Sweetser really needed any mentoring when she arrived at San Diego State to teach public relations and do research. She had already been tenured at the University of Georgia, and she gave up tenure to move to San Diego. Now, perhaps you've heard that it's said that politics is local, and nothing is more political than being an untenured professor. And so together, Kay and I navigated the occasionally choppy waters at San Diego State. But the story does have a happy ending. A stinky cloud over Kay's head finally blew away. Now, Kay didn't say stinky because, as you may know, she's a sailor and she talks like one. So it was something similar to stinky, but not quite. So just as I was retiring, Professor Sweetser was promoted to full professor and granted tenure. And if I had a horse, I would have ridden it into the sunset, knowing that all is well in public relations at San Diego State University. I believe that mentoring is a game where we all should pay it forward. I had the distinct privilege of having the late Glenn Broom serve as my mentor for nearly 40 years. For that, I'm extremely grateful. I don't feel that Kay owes me a favor, but if Kay wants to, I urge her to pay it forward. Because, Kay, you have junior colleagues who will achieve excellence with your help, just as you have achieved excellence. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Kay.
Hello, my name's Beth Ward Francisconi. I work in internal communications and executive communications for Levi Strauss & Company. It's my dream job. I'm a California native, and like the company, I've always kept a pair of 501s in my closet. And I love that I have a work uniform where my decisions each morning are, should I wear denim or khaki? But we're not here to talk about my closet. After 27 years of working in communications, I can honestly say this is the best gig I've got yet. And the woman I have to thank for bringing me to the pants production plant is my mentor and the person we're here to honor, Kelly McGinnis, Chief Communications Officer for Levi Strauss. Kelly hates it when I start to share the work journey we've been on together, as it started over 25 years ago at Fleischman Hillard in St. Louis, Missouri. She was a Coro Fellow, and I was an Assistant Account Executive at the time. We both worked on the Southwestern Bell account, pitching futuristic phone technologies like caller ID and voice-activated dialing. We worked on public service programs like the Lifeline campaign. And we were colleagues in arms, helping Southwestern Bell reunite all of Ma Bell's babies in a succession of mergers that led Kelly to leave St. Louis for San Antonio. Even as a junior member of the team, Kelly pushed for more. More coverage, more opportunities, more executions. So never one to be satisfied with the status quo in location or professional opportunity, Kelly's career continued to skyrocket as she launched one of the big startups during the tech boom of the early 2000s, drugstore.com. And once the virtual pill retailer opened, she left Seattle for San Francisco to lead the Fleischman Hillard office, and we continued to work together, building tools and technologies to benefit some of the firm's biggest clients, like Yahoo and Sony. When I moved to San Francisco in 2007, hoping to take a 3-month sabbatical to help transition my family to our new West Coast digs, Kelly arrived on my doorstep and convinced me to help her in a competitive pitch to keep Visa as the office's largest and most lucrative client. I told her I was taking a break, but Kelly never takes no for an answer, believing more can be done even when the timing seems impossible. I caved, staffed the pitch, and of course, we won the business. From there, she continued to bring me along as she conquered the advertising world, launching one of the first integrated marketing agencies to service the Dell account. After working for the agency for 13 months, I told Kelly, I would work for you anywhere, but I can't work for Dell. As the great mentor she is, she let me go, knowing I would be more successful and productive in my next role, recruiting. Kelly went on to lead corporate communications for Dell Computer Corporation, commuting from San Francisco to Austin for several years while raising her 2 little girls, Meg and Bix, alongside her husband, Don. By 2013, she traded motherboards for mom jeans, taking the Chief Communications Officer role at Levi's, reporting to Chip Berg, the relatively new CEO. And lucky me, my mentor needed employee comms help and rescued me from HR back to my first love, PR. If you ask Kelly how if you asked Chip how he would describe Kelly, he would say emphatically, she's wicked smart. She is that. But what sets Kelly apart from other communicators and why she is a role model mentor is that she never settles for done. She always pushes for perfection. Her success is grounded in her well-stocked mind, one where she's constantly learning and improving her craft. Her curiosity is infectious. Her ability to synthesize material and produce spot-on content, admirable. And her encouragement and belief that those around her can do the unimaginable are the secrets to her success and those with whom she's worked. We've done the math, and 8 of Kelly's mentees have gone on to become CCOs of global organizations. If you aspire to a leadership role, working with Kelly is a sure bet to landing one. Kelly bands her mentees together into a professional network, one which she relies on to enact real change in society. Over the past year and a half, her contemporaries from the Arthur Page Society, along with her past agency and corporate colleagues, know this to be true. They have all been on the receiving end of numerous phone calls asking them to join her and our organization to fight for the issues of our time, like gun safety and increased voter participation. She channels her mentees into a network of loud advocates to better society. I'll end by sharing my nickname for Kelly, which is PETA, short for pain in the... I gave her that designation years ago, and it stuck. She knows when she's driving for better ideas, searching for new ways of working, or inspiring the team to dream bigger. Her collective success is hard, but delivers world-class results. And while it's been close to 3 decades in the making, it's my honor and pleasure to introduce my mentor and the mentor to so many in the communications profession, Kelly McGinnis.
Enough said. How about those beans? I am incredibly grateful to have the chance to work with people like Beth every day. And I will say that she calls me PETA pretty much every day. And one of my very first supervisors told me that I was shameless in a good way. And that has been something that has driven me from the very beginning of being persistent and pushing forward. So first and foremost, I'm going to ask everyone in the room who's representing a corporate entity and anyone who works for an agency to encourage your clients, please, please, please engage in the civic engagement work that's ahead of us and encourage your companies to join Time to Vote. It is an opportunity. No one should have to choose between a paycheck and the opportunity to go and cast their ballot. We're a year out from next year, and I hope everyone will join us. And it's been incredibly rewarding to be a part of this community of communicators who have banded together on really important issues. I'm incredibly proud that we had almost 240 companies join us in a letter to the Senate on gun violence prevention, the fact that we've had hundreds of companies join us on voting. And there's a huge vacuum right now in terms of leadership, and all of us have so much influence in our organizations to make a difference. And so I hope that all of you will use that influence that you have in your organization to make a difference. In terms of mentorship, I have 3 really simple rules. First and foremost, I believe that people can do big things, and I love that it terrifies them when I say, you'll be fine, go, 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 go. And they come back and they surprise themselves and they have 100 more ideas than I ever thought. 2, that we all need to bring our whole selves to work, and when you can bring everything that you are to work, that you can accomplish so much else, and that we all have like all these quirks on the edges, and that's what makes it fun. And number 3 is really the most important one, and that is all about the fact that not only is it about your whole self, not only is it about believing in big things, but it's about having people who are much smarter than you around you. So I work really, really hard to find people who are way beyond yes, my boss calls me wicked smart, but the people around me are so much smarter, and they push and push and push. And together, that's how we make great things happen. And I'm super grateful to have the chance to work with folks like Beth and others on the team. So thank you very much. I'm super grateful. And again, everybody vote.
Great stuff. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bridget Coughing. I am the Vice Chair of the Planck Center Board of Advisors, and it is my very, very profound honor to introduce our final and very, very special award of the night. I think it's special because of the unique and very significant nature of the award itself. I think it's special because of the man being recognized tonight. Our highly distinguished 2019 honoree, Kim Hunter, CEO of LeGrand Communications and LeGrand Foundation. First, a word about what is just a very, very meaningful award. It was named, of course, in honor of Betsy Planck, but to really recognize exemplary professionals who are in a class by themselves. It is really only given to those folks who have demonstrated an entire lifetime, a lifetime of commitment to mentoring, and have had a profound impact on others. And in turn, those others going on to foster relationships and mentorships and influence within their organizations, within their communities, within our profession that we all share and honor tonight. I think it's really important to note that this award is not given out every year. In fact, the award has only been conferred 2 times before. So tonight's honoree joins just 2 others in this category. The noted Ralph Campagna, Executive Director of Chicago's Off the Street Club, who was the recipient, the first one in 2016, and the very trailblazing Tom Burrell, who received the Betsy Plank Award just last year for his extraordinary work in marketing, multicultural advertising, communications, and a real trailblazer as well. So tonight, Kim joins this very elite group. He has touched the lives and the careers of so many people, and we'll now hear from 3 of his greatest fans. So please join me in welcoming Luis Sanchez, Director of Communications and Public Affairs at the Chicago International Charter School, Natalie Goodwin, Director of Global Corporate Communications, Hilton, and Jessica Shee, Director of Corporate Communications Strategy, Blue Shield of California, who will each share a memory about their friend and colleague, Kim Hunter.
Sorry about that. Good evening. I'm Jessica Shee, and for those of you who know Kim Hunter, you'll know why it takes 3 of us to honor him tonight. We represent just a minuscule fraction of the hundreds of students and professionals who are in this industry tonight because of Kim Hunter and the LeGrant Foundation that he founded more than 20 years ago, because he saw a lack of diversity in our industry, and he made it his personal mission to change that. We've all had the benefit of his mentorship, and because of that, I noticed when I moved back to San Francisco recently, I've been able to get reacquainted with many of my friends from childhood, and many of them are smart, they're ambitious, they're talented, but they're stuck in middle management. And I realized that the only reason why I've been able to get to leadership positions in Fortune 10 companies is because I had an ace in my corner. I had Kim Hunter, who's been there to push me, to counsel me, to give me tough feedback, and to lift me up and champion for me. And I'm so grateful for his support and in complete awe, because I know that I'm only just one of the hundreds that he's been able to support, including Luis Sanchez.
Thank you, Jessica. Good evening. My name is Luis Sanchez, and I'm one of the many recipients today of the LeGrant Scholarship Foundation. Words such as leader, change agent, entrepreneur, these are the words that best describe Kim Hunter and his bold efforts in helping minorities like myself. We've been able to establish, we've been able to enter in the communications field and fulfill our dreams to go to college and beyond. He strives us, he pushes our buttons to go further. As a Latino and a communications professional, my life has been deeply impacted by the generosity of Kim and the LeGrant Foundation. His energies have not only helped countless folks like myself, but also fulfill others' dreams, to build the next generation of communicators that reflect society. Kim clearly knows and understands what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, PR agent. I see that in myself, and I see it in my future. And I can honestly say with more conviction, and in my lifetime, that I will sometimes need people like Kim, and Kim has always been there for me. And I, hopefully, plan to follow in his footsteps and do the same to other mentorees I plan to one day mentor. So once again, I want to thank Kim Hunter and the LeGrand Foundation for every opportunity, because I know without him, I wouldn't be here today. And I thank you very much. Natalie?
Only for Kim does it take three of us to do this. I asked him earlier, how many people in this room do you know? Actually, how many people know Kim? Raise your hand. I would say just about everyone, right? I'm Natalie Godwin, and like Louis and Jessica, I'm a recipient of the LeGrand Foundation Scholarship. I was actually the first group of graduate students in 2006. And back then, the application was similar to a mini thesis. And I'll admit, I was working full-time, graduate studies at night, and I almost didn't complete it. I put it down, and I was like, I'll get to this later. The deadline was the next day, and I stayed up all night, and I got it in. I was probably the last person to get in my application. I'm so glad I did, because it changed the trajectory of my career. In the years that I've known Kim, I've called him before every opportunity that I've taken. He's helped me evaluate responsibilities, job titles, where the position lies in the communications team and the company structure. And he's actually even helping me navigate my latest career move. And that's really important for communicators who are really trying to find their way in this industry. More importantly, I'd like to thank him for helping professionals of color, especially Black women, to have our voices heard and to be seen. He's a natural leader who forces us to elevate our work, think globally and strategically. His tenacious effort to support the LeGrand Foundation helps him speak truth to power. And it is my honor to welcome our mentor, Kim Hunter.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This will be the shortest acceptance speech ever. These three speak for why I get up every day. I always remind people I am 2 years shy of 60, I'm 7 years shy of Medicare, and every day I get up knowing my runway is short. Their runway is a lot longer. I want to thank the Planck Center Board of Advisors, all of the honorees tonight, but there is one person in particular I want to thank, because it was this gentleman who was flying in from Detroit when I was already at the Page Spring Conference, and he texted me and said, "Kim, have you arrived?" I said, "I have." He said, "You want to join me for dinner?" I said, "Of course." And it was Tony Savone, who's the Chief Communication Officer for General Motors. And Tony called this dinner to ask me, was I available on this particular day? But unfortunately, at the time, Tony didn't know the day. So when he talked about the date, he didn't have the date. And what happened was he had to go to a couple other the board members to find out, because apparently if I could not make the date, I would not be a recipient of this award tonight. So Tony Savone, I will never forget you for that. But Tony, you are a good man. I miss interacting with you. Tony is a member of the board of directors. He's an active board member. He's an engaged board member. And Tony is very much like a few people in this business that I absolutely respect and adore. And I'm going to put him in the same category, which most of you have always heard me talk about, because I've known her for 17 years. And she was just elevated to the CEO role of Weber Shandwick, and that's Gail Hyman. And Gail has always been one of these individuals who never pigeonholed me. And Tony, you are very much just like her. You're the male version in many ways of Gail, without all the other stuff that Gail we know about her. Good stuff, right, Rana? But I will tell you, when Tony called me one day and asked me, his son is here, I said, at least one of the sons, Tony has two of them. Tony said his son was coming to LA to go around meeting a couple practitioners, and he asked would I do it. Well, People know my mission, my passion is diversity and inclusion. Everybody knows it. I was trained by the general market. I know who I am. I have no illusion about it. But it gives me great joy when Tony, Gail, and others will pick up the phone and says, Kim, I got a family member, I got a friend who doesn't look like me, and Mike O'Neill's another one at American Express. It gives me the greatest joy to know, at the end of the day, my man, you're the future. I'm not, but whatever I can do, I'm happy to. So on behalf of the LeGrand Foundation, all of the former scholarship recipients who are in this room, and there are a number of you, could you please stand up? Everyone, that's the future. Thank you.
So, I want to congratulate all the winners again. Kim, Rich, Cheryl, Dave, Matt, and Kelly on being recognized as great leaders in our business. I will also tell you that there has been a bit of a tradition here that this will not be the first award that you folks will win. I like to think of us as being a little bit trailblazer in this way, but you'd be surprised how many of these people go on to win other awards in our industry. It's my job each year to wrap up the evening. My name is Bill Heyman. I've been on the board of the Planck Center since its inception, and I'm the proud owner of an executive search firm called Heyman Associates. And I don't get to do the work that I get to do for the Planck Center if it wasn't for people like my colleague, Kira Gleighorn, and Heyman Associates President, Jessamine Katz. So I want to thank them for allowing me to do what I do for the Planck Center, because it's a real labor of love. I also want to make special thanks and a round of applause, please, for Carla Gower, the Planck Center Director, her assistant, Jessica White, and also Bruce Berger, who's been mentioned many times, but deserves it. Then part of this labor of love is my two brothers from another mother, Keith Burton and Ron Culp. We really have worked tirelessly on this dinner for 10 years. It's been a wonderful experience, and what I think is so great about it is when someone like Rich Jernstedt, who we all respect so much, stands up here and says it's the best night in PR. You're not going to get any argument from us that serve on the Planck Center board, but I'll also tell you there's something about the classiness of this city and the fact that I can stand up here at the end of the evening, separating you from your next drink, and there's a quiet in the room. And that's always been the case for 10 years. It marvels me. I mean, admittedly, I'm from the Bronx, so I have a hard time relating to that sometimes, but this is good stuff. My good friend, placement, and colleague Joel Curran said to me, this event is a really big deal. And I think that's a great way of describing it. The Milestones and Mentoring Dinner is a terrific event, and I thank you all for being here. One other thing that I want to mention that I try to mention each year is those of you that are young people in our profession that are here, maybe for this dinner for the first time, or maybe you've been here before, if you've sat next to a professional who's been at this for a while, or if you have one in eyesight of you, glom onto that person before they walk out of here with their car keys to go home, because this is an incredible opportunity you have to meet some of the best people that have ever done what PR people do. So it's a terrific opportunity for you. This is the 10th year we've had a sellout at this event in this room, and we have Betsy to thank for that. And our Diversity Inclusion Summit tomorrow has also been sold out for the second year in a row. So that all is the glossy stuff. Now I have to get down to the stuff that they really pay me for to be up here. Number one, next year's event is November 5th, 2020, so please mark your calendar. Number two, you all have these badges. Please leave them in the back. We'll have them for you next year, I promise, but hold on to them or put them in the back. And the last thing is, for those award recipients tonight, we need you all to come back over here to get your picture taken. For the rest of you, good night and thank you for being here.